Let's start with the minutes of October 24. I don't see anything there that's gonna get us in trouble.
Pretty good summary.
Right.
I move we accept the minutes of October 24th.
Can I get a second, Keith?
I haven't read them. But I guess I have to say, I agree.
Yeah. All in
If
favor?
there's anything
Aye.
wrong, we'll blame it on.
We'll fix it. Yeah, we'll fix it. Yeah. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? No abstentions? Okay. So I guess what we're here for tonight really is just finalize. Because we're gonna bring it to the budget committee, week from tomorrow. I think it is, yeah,
Yeah, the 7th.
week from
Not
tomorrow,
the 7th. 19th.
19th. If we got all this stuff,
But we highlighted, if we want to go through, we highlighted the 3 gold or the 4 gold ones in the left-hand side.
right,
We made some changes to those that I'd like to just point out. Some of them are not in this year's, but the Bog Road Bridge. If you look down to the very
Right.
bottom, we received $118,000, $378 from the state for bridge maintenance or repair that's
Yeah.
not budgeted.
yeah,
So we just stabbed it right there for now. That doesn't mean
Okay.
it has to go towards Bog Road, but we figured that's probably a good place to put it.
yeah.
Have we had an engineer or someone look at Bog Road versus Spectacle Pond Bridge and decided that Bog Road is more urgent?
No, not right now.
Okay,
I think we're DPW's just determining.
okay.
where
So we're
they
just sort
want
of
to go and-
saying
Yeah.
for now that sounds good. Okay.
So, and that 118 can move. We just stuck it there for now, so we had a
Right.
placeholder for it, but we have 118,378 to use towards a bridge project.
How long can we keep it before we have to spend it?
It's ours. I wouldn't keep it for a long, long time, but say
Okay.
the next bridge project we have that we can use 118,000.
Is it some kind of security or savings or what?
It's in our general fund and it's
Okay.
Yeah.
accounted for in our,
But it also could go towards, what is that, a culvert or something on Maple Street? Not on Maple Street, on May Street?
it has to be classified as a bridge.
Okay, culverts don't count.
Culvert.
Okay.
Some of the big culverts are classified as bridges, but
But do we still, are we sure that that amount for Bog
No.
Bridge is, no, okay.
No.
So we
It's
don't
just a
even,
It's
placeholder.
340.
So we haven't engineered that to come up with the estimate. Okay.
Yeah. No. Okay, so the Shed Street's in there now. Good,
And yeah, we did put that in there. There's no, I didn't see either side where it said, but it's gonna be funded with fund balance is what
Right.
is being proposed.
It does say that under funding source.
Oh, yeah. it does
Yeah.
say it down the front.
yeah. Yeah,
And then one thing that came in today that I'd like you guys to address is the next one, the chipper replacement. We put the chipper out to bid. We did get a bid back for 64,409. We received,
46.
it was 46 something from insurance. Oh, yeah, it's right there, 46,900 from insurance, so we would need 17,509 from CIP. If you guys would, I would like to make a similar motion that we did to the ambulance, that we pay that and we expedite purchase of that and let the select. board-
I don't know. I'm a little hesitant to jump back into the chipper business.
Well, we need one. It's not chipping at the transfer station. We need.
Oh, I understand that. I understand that. But Jim had said he was hauling
Yeah,
either to Canaan or to West Lebanon,
from the transfer station. We need one for road work.
but he was also hauling from stuff cut up,
We can't get our road work done. We're renting one right now to get our road work done.
we're renting a chipper.
Yeah.
And what are we paying to rent a chipper?
I don't know the number off the top of my head, but
I'd like to hold that 17 in abeyance until we go through the total amount of the list and we can add up a couple of numbers. I'm not clear in my head on how much money we're spending quite yet in terms of the CIP allocation. So I'd like to say that that might be the last number added back in if it fits, rather than right now.
I'd look at, I disagree. I'd like to get that purchased. We put.
Well, I'm not saying we won't,
got
But
it.
I'd like to know what the other numbers are. For example, I'd like to know what the budget of the CIP program is.
Yeah.
Without taxation. How much money do we have to spend on
Well, we have
CIP
that.
projects without taxation?
Is that the very bottom? No, that's not the bottom. It's the,
I don't have the balance of the CIP account. I do know we just put 407,000 in year end 2022,
From the latest tax,
from the 2022 tax year.
right?
How much are we spending on the, buying of the land for the,
500.
500.
500?
So
So,
another 25 is gonna have to come from,
Well, 474,000 is coming from ARPA,
right, but another 25 has gotta come from somewhere.
CIP.
Right.
25,000.
Right.
So 25,000 is coming out of CIP.
oh, it's not it's not the total amount.
It is, but it's getting,
It's a flip flop
Oh, it's a
because
flip-flop.
Yeah.
Okay.
we couldn't use ARPA money to buy the land.
Right, yeah,
So the ARPA
Okay.
money's coming to us
yeah,
to
okay,
pay for the ambulance
okay,
Yeah.
and pay for it.
so we'll
the
take
dump.
500,000 out, but we'll
Right.
put 474 back in.
okay, okay. All right, so, what can we spend in this year?
That's my question, is what
Okay.
can we afford to spend? Because the principle of the committee this year
Right.
is that we don't want to have to finance anything if at all possible.
So would we have 1.6 million going in, I think?
I don't know, that's my
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
What do we have going in?
1.6,
Oh, we've just heard,
We had one.
Melissa said we've added 400,000 and
Right.
change.
right.
So my question is, what do we have available for this list of priorities?
I
If we
have to
use
check
those
the-
numbers, we're close to 2 million.
Yeah,
We think we have as much as
Oh,
2
yeah.
million available to
Yeah.
ourselves. And that's not money that's allocated for, prior financed items.
well, you use it to pay the amount that the old finance stuff.
Well, that's what I mean. If we
Well, yeah.
deduct the already financed
Right.
items, how much is actually available for current spending? Aside from previously allocated funds for already financed items?
No.
And does it balance with this list? I don't want us to be headed, if we can help it, into a situation where something needs to be financed and we're not paying attention to it.
And that is something I did not bring at this meeting, was the debt service page.
Right.
No, but we've seen I've seen the debt service page before, but,
And that'll tell you how much is coming out for
Right.
debt service.
but, we don't know what the fund has, if you will, regardless of the debt service.
Approximately $2 million.
Right. Because the debt service is already paid for last year. It doesn't get paid until December of this year. When this year's money goes in. Which is 600 and something thousand, isn't it, this year?
We did have, I want to say it's just over 300,000 that came out of the capital reserve fund to pay for various debt.
Right,
So the 400, actually, so we've gained about 100,000.
right.
We added about 100,000
We had 100,000
to the
here
CIP
Yeah,
last
net
year.
fund, if you will, something.
Right.
yeah.
Bad terminology, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. And that includes paying on Oak Hill, right? Or does Oak Hill's first payment this year?
It'll be this year.
It'll be this year. But that's not a big number. on $150,000 loan. So the financing of those two pieces will hit this year, the dump truck and the Oak Hill.
So the big ticket items that we've said are coming out of the CIP fund, if you will, are, the water tank mixing unit, but that's paid for by the water budget.
Right.
Yeah.
Should be.
Yep.
And the well generator, that's being paid for out of the water budget.
Yeah.
The Shaker Bridge grinder is being paid out of the sewer
Sewer budget,
budget.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's replacement of, yeah,
ahead of that was just the Shed Street, which we already said is coming out of unfunded balance.
right,
Mhm.
The ambulance is coming, however. Now, that's not, when we say the ARPA funds, that's not the ARPA funds that we intend to use for the purchase of the land.
No.
Yeah, it'll pay for the,
right, that's what it's gonna
Ambulance.
pay for.
but it would still be a payment out of CIP.
It'd be on
If you
CIP,
Do it that way. You either have to take the 500,000 out for the land or the pieces that
or the
were.
pieces that made it up.
Okay. So the cruiser replacement, the
Yeah.
ambulance,
Those will be ARPA.
has he ordered the ambulance, by the way? We talked about that earlier.
The RFPs due this week.
Um, and
then
the truck, the plow truck,
Yeah.
166,000, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what those three add up to, but
So the total of those three items that's in green is 474,349.
Yeah.
And that is the total of the ARPA funds. So the total cost of everything, because the 6 year was estimated at 200,000, there's an extra 33,456 designated as coming from cash.
Right,
So if you just ignore the green, you
right,
can add in the land.
right, it's
And that's just a
500,000,
little
Right.
easier.
basically, it's, yeah,
The land is included in the CIP,
Right.
CRF number in the summary at the bottom.
right,
So that's 721,000 includes the 500,000 for
for the
land.
land,
so coming out of the CIP fund,
721,578.
well, I'm going up,
Does that count?
I'm going with a wash for the 474,349, if you will.
For the
Right.
tipper?
Okay, and I'm saying what in addition
I don't
is coming out of the CIP. I'm trying to get to that sum. What are we spending out
I
of
think it does. I
CIP
think it.
that isn't
auto-fills that
allocable to
bottom.
any
Well,
other
I might have
source?
adjusted it too.
And so far, 33,456 is the first one on the list.
Right,
I'll have
And
to
then
check that.
the chipper replacement, which we've just discussed a
Right.
minute ago. The land, the cascade system comes out of that, right?
Should have put it on flash drive.
60,000 for the cascade system.
well, I thought that, are they gonna get, they
I
are
would-
getting the casket.
I would
No, they're
move
not.
the cascade.
It's
system.
moving out
You
a
would move
year,
that a year?
'Cause it's
and not-
gonna come
yeah,
with the new
We did
building.
talk about that. We said that he should commit to purchasing that in exactly a year from now.
right,
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm
It's
gonna
okay.
go-
Because he won't need it until at least April, and God forbid his system fails, he'll work out something with Canaan to bridge a few months if absolutely
Yeah,
necessary.
we can figure it out. They shouldn't be a year out, but
That system isn't, you don't, and when you say a year out, you don't think it'll take a year to order that, do you?
I don't think so. That's
No.
what I'm gonna double check.
no, but most likely you're not gonna be paying for it until 2024.
Yeah, you won't pay for it till you get it.
Right, that's what I mean,
Okay,
and you don't wanna get it. till you get
and we
the
did talk about the backstop coming out of,
undesignated,
undesignated fund balance again. We talked about that in the budget committee.
right,
Okay. So we do come back to the 33,456 being the difference
Mhm.
of the items highlighted in green
right,
and 17,509 for the chipper.
right,
And the 500,000 for
and
the
the
land.
500,000 for the land.
And the Maple Street Road one up above, right?
Right.
And the difference between the highway block grant of 121,878 and 128,122, or,
No,
no, the
it's
120
That's different.
is additional, that's right, it's $250,000 job,
Right.
yeah, gotcha.
So why did you highlight the Shed Street thing? Because
Just
it's,
because we added it.
We just
you
added it.
added it,
We
So-
added it today.
and that's 75,000. Are you saying,
It's not coming out of CIP, but it's a CIP project.
okay,
Right.
well, you have it going in 2024 also as cash and
Oh, that's
2023,
Yeah,
both
right.
places.
that's
It's a
redundant
2 year.
there, we can
It is.
eliminate
We
one,
can
it's not
eliminate.
$150,000.
I hope we can eliminate one.
It's
Yeah.
coming-
Yeah, so we can eliminate the one that's in
It's
24.
24, yes.
Right.
Hopefully it can be done in 2023 for 75,000.
Hopefully. Yeah. Because if not, it is worth selling the land at some point.
Well, land's gonna have a $75,000 value, I'll tell you that.
Right. That's what I'm saying is if it's 150,000 for remediation, then you get into the question.
I'd say the market price is gonna be based on what it takes to clean it up.
Market price could be worth on the market. Telling a developer what he has to build,
The value is gonna be there from the
right,
taxes, not from
from
the
the,
sale.
not from
It
the
is,
sale.
but there's
It's gonna be
still a
from the
basic
sale.
value to the, if you're going to the bother of cleaning it all up,
Oh, I agree.
it has a certain value.
It has a certain value, but the other side of that is you're not selling it as a piece of property.
No,
Because you're telling the developer what he's gonna put on the property also.
Well, you're giving him the zoning laws, which allow him to do a number of different things.
Right.
He could be
No,
very
the
inventive.
RFPs.
The
what
RFP
are
is
you building?
specific.
No,
It
we're not
says
selling
what you're
it to
gonna
you.
build.
I don't care what you're paying.
No, we've never released the RFP though, have we?
No,
We're about to.
right. But it's got, but the select board's gonna say what they want built there, and it's gonna be a part of you buying the land.
Yeah, you're not gonna get the land unless you're building what we want you to build.
Well, that's not an unusual
Yeah.
municipal requirement.
No, but they don't usually sell it for the
Right.
value of the land.
Right.
I can
Right.
tell you right now, the $800,000 cleanup in Lebanon for their BPW, they're not selling that land for
For 800,000,
They're not getting
agreed.
800,000
They're
for that
probably
land.
giving that land to a developer or close to it.
Right,
I haven't read what they're getting, but I'm sure they're getting something, but it's certainly not 800,000.
Yeah,
That's,
I can find out.
All
It's probably not
peanuts.
much.
well, it's not worth,
it's enough to get,
It's the tax value.
It's
and
the tax
increased
value.
Housing and all
Right.
that is
That's
what
right.
it is.
the need for housing,
The
yeah,
economic development value is what
Right.
you're getting.
if Shed Street can be done for 75,000. That's not a terrible asking price.
Yeah, we'd have a hard time getting it, I think. But we can debate that later.
but we're gonna get that, yeah, you're right, the money's in the tax
We've
dollars.
taken a few developers and they're not falling over themselves
Wanting it.
looking at it.
Yeah, well, they're not
Cause they
being
have a
imaginative.
multi-million-dollar building to build if they're building it.
Right. Yeah,
But how much, how was the land contaminated? What's it have on it?
It
well,
was a-
because DPW was there for
DPW Facility. so
facility.
there's
Everything
100
DPW still
years.
uses,
Lead and cadmium in the ground.
Plus
there's
the
oil in the
creosote.
ground, there's-
leaky trucks and,
So it's been for a while,
plus the
not
rate,
just recent then.
No.
well, no, and the railroad
And
was there before that,
Most of the way cleaned up.
right,
They're just, we have to tear the building
two
down, we have
spots.
to do all that.
Okay.
Comes along with expense, and there's asbestos in the building.
right. And also with old DPW, all they had was drains. The oil just happened to fall through the drains,
We might have got lucky there.
yeah,
It goes into
goes into a holding
like a
tank,
septic tank, but there's no drains out of the tank. So we
Oh,
think. it's
okay.
all contained.
did you find the
That
tank?
would be good.
Yeah, we found
You
it,
found the tank.
good,
but we're gonna do some testing of that. That's part of the 75.
Well, anyway.
Redoing the math, and putting the chipper at 17,509, taking out the insurance amount, it comes to 679,087 if I did my math right. without a calculator. So that's better.
Much was it?
679,
087.
087. Which we would label as CIP out-of-pocket costs,
Coming out of the
Cash,
And
yes.
we'll be,
cash costs.
next year's
and we'll be putting in another
six,
four something,
is it
In
four next
June.
year or is it?
or is it
Well,
6?
We,
How much goes in every year?
well, it depends on the value. So as the values increase
Right.
above the base. So the year before it was 300 something. This year was 407, could be 407. it
Is
could
the
be more.
407 half? In other words, that's the December, or that's the
full
total?
year.
That's the full year.
That's, so that includes, the July tax.
Yeah,
revenue.
because
Yes.
July is just a prepayment, so
Right,
it's
yeah.
after the tax rate is set and the bills are
Right,
calculated.
So if you really look at this, just to kind of wrap your head around it, if we have 2 million, let's say, and we're putting
Taking out-
400 and we're taking
taking out
679, we're spending 250-ish.
250, it'll go
Out
down,
of
the
the-
balance go down by
Out
about
of the
250.
balance, which
Is that two?
even conservatively, we've estimated the balance is at least $1 million, even allowing $1 million for
It's a two.
payments,
It's closer to 2.
closer to 2, but that
Right.
includes already funded, items, or already financed items, excuse me.
Right,
Okay, so that makes us feel a little comfortable about what we're
Yeah.
spending and,
yeah.
okay,
So the 679 is coming out. So basically, we're gonna lower it by $200,000.
There was discussion last year of possibly changing, putting money in, and then when we decided to go all cash, you guys decided not to
Yeah,
do that this
right,
year. So,
right.
I know the money's there
Right,
to do this, and
because we financed for so many
this
years
is really
at such a
what we've
low
been
rate.
saving.
well, that's the reason for not financing this year.
That's right,
That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
reason, not only for watching our expenses, but also for not financing if at all possible.
right.
And being selective about the projects that
Oh,
we're
yeah.
willing to consider. I mean, there are
Yeah.
obviously more items.
Well, there's some big items in the out years.
Yeah.
But the 250 doesn't include the finance charges, correct?
No.
Huh?
No,
No, it doesn't. Do we know how much that is?
You don't happen to know approximately, or,
Yeah, she did.
yeah, it's on another paper. I didn't bring that one.
I didn't get that one. I've been kind of swamped. Forgot.
I might have, but I can't, I don't think I can find it.
No.
Wait a minute. That's to me. Debt service. Seven? You take a look, 741?
That's the total amount,
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
not the payment amount.
no,
Okay.
that's what's, yeah. That's the balance of the, financed stuff.
So in 2023, in that column, I have another copy of it. It says 1,074,755 under finance.
Yeah.
Is that the amount?
That's not the payment.
But that's not the payment.
That's not the
No, that's
payment.
the
amount.
That's the
That's the
outstanding
total.
total loan.
That's the outstanding,
finance, yeah.
asset values, okay.
Right.
The trustees of trust funds just reimbursed us in 2022. Something in the 300 something range for everything they were reimbursing us for was less than 400,000. And that's not even just from the CIP. Primarily from CIP, but not just CIP.
Yes.
Yeah, because a lot of that finance stuff has been paid down big time.
Right. And I think there's at least one that's gonna be paid off this year. I
Yeah,
don't know which one it is.
and we're coming close to paying off Jones Hill. Jones Hill's gonna be
1 year.
one more year. Yeah,
I think the other thing to think about when you're looking at that too, is if we're not adding this year,
Right,
then as those things come off.
it shrinks,
Decreasing.
it shrinks
the
that-
putting
that's
more
right.
in
right,
the future,
it shrinks it.
Exactly.
Unless we add more. So this year, we're adding Oak Hill, everything
Right.
else that we did.
Because before we were leasing cruisers, which was basically financing. We're paying cash for them now. We have been for the last couple of years.
Okay, so with regards to the chipper 17509, I can see that.
Yeah.
And I assume that that's the best plan we've got going is essentially replace
Yeah, and we got.
that size unit as opposed to hauling or
Right.
a smaller sized unit or
I think we're gonna
subcontracting.
continue hauling from the transfer station. We don't, I.
And use
think
it
that's
for roadside.
Right now, we're gonna continue using that, but they need something to pull around in storms,
You-
after storm.
right, you need it.
And they need that big size unit to do it.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to own it as opposed to picking up the phone and calling one of our local subcontractors to say, help us clean this up.
Yeah, we shouldn't rely on subcontractors to have it ready when we need it. We
Why
should have
shouldn't we?
Well, because they're
Because they're gonna need it at
probably
the same
busy
time.
too,
Yeah.
at the same time.
It's just the problem is a big machine like that, $65,000 machine, sits around doing, they're very idle.
Well, that's
Most
one
of
of the
the time.
questions I have is how long do we have one of those? It should stay around for quite some
It
time.
lasts a long time.
It should be a 25-year machine.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and it'll last longer if you're not using it at the transfer station,
Plus, if
where
you do
people are
maintenance
throwing
on it,
things into it that shouldn't go into it.
Yeah,
it
and
will last.
they're looking at using this is purchasing a disc system
Right,
instead of the drum system.
Yeah.
Which, if something like that were to happen, it won't destroy the whole machine we're helping it. It
right.
takes it a little better. There's some parts you can replace and get it back on. The drum system came in at a quote of 84,000.
Yeah.
They decided to go this direction. I think it'll be a better unit, cheaper cost, and if something were to happen in the future,
It can be
the
replaced.
possibility of it being repaired is
Do we
better.
get any kind of warranty with this machine?
I'm sure there's a little bit of one, but not.
Commercial use,
Not like.
Commercial use.
it's gonna be about as long as they can get it off the truck.
It might be a 1 year on
And-
right.
manufacturing type stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
manufacturing.
It won't be anything that has to do with
If you
you.
shove a-
Right,
No, yeah, no, but.
The motor, for example, might have a 1-year warranty.
Right.
Right.
The
They don't
operable
warranty-
parts are not going to be warranted.
they don't warranty stupidity.
No.
And so we're gonna accompany this with a town policy that says we're not gonna use this machine in the transfer station anymore because of the risk,
No, there won't
the
be.
public
Right,
putting something in that's gonna trash
Right.
even this machine out.
There won't be a policy for that, but
just as gonna be
we'll
done.
continue to monitor on the operational side. That's
Yeah.
what's the best use of the machine.
Now, you were saying before that they recently got that estimate.
Yeah, we
On
put out
this?
an RFP, we got the bids back and they're planning on taking it to the select board at the next meeting for approval.
And so that amount is pretty solid.
Yeah.
No, that
Yeah.
is the amount.
The 64,409.
Right, yeah,
And what are we doing with the old machine?
It's gone. Primex has it. They wouldn't let us keep it.
Primex took it.
scrap.
That was part of the totaling it.
When you total it, they get the vehicle,
They take it, they give us $46,000.
right? Yeah,
Yeah, I can see that.
yeah,
Do we need a motion on that or you're okay? Or actually, we need a motion
I
on
think
all.
we put it on the CIP.
We put it on the CIP and we
put
need
it
a
on the
motion on all
CIP
of it.
list.
I would like, if you guys would, a recommendation as we did the ambulance for the select board to move forward and get the.
To move forward and purchase now.
Based off that RFP price that we.
Okay, I move that we,
That hasn't been done. I thought that was done. No?
No, we're taking it to them at the next select board meeting to
Right.
show them what the RFP prices were and
Right.
move forward, a recommendation from the CIP committee to move forward and get this.
have you
purchased.
given them the recommendation for the ambulance?
Yes,
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
And
We
they
did, that was-
approved that.
And they approved
we
it.
put the RFP
Right, that's what I thought we had.
Yes. See, that's the confusion.
Okay, so I
Yeah.
move that we will recommend to the select board to go ahead on, taking advantage of the RFP at 64,409 to buy the new chipper with the balance of the funds to come out of the CIP program.
Do we need a separate one for that versus the whole thing?
I would.
Yeah,
You would?
yeah, it's a separate one, because
Yeah.
this here is going to town.
Specific.
The big one is going to budget and gonna go to, but this is just to tell them, go ahead and build it, go ahead and buy it,
Yeah, buy it now.
as opposed to waiting until
The
after
rest of
town
them will
meeting,
wait till after town. meeting.
Oh, okay.
which they could do anyways, because they've got, it's their money to expend.
Yeah.
All we're doing is recommending to the,
Okay.
I have a motion on the table.
will you second it? Keith?
Yes, I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So I have a quick question on the spreadsheet. You talked about the sidewalks, which is an old article that's,
Yeah,
do we wanna, it got dropped off for whatever reason. Do you want it back on somewhere, somehow?
It's
The placeholder?
it's an indescribed project. It was an allocation that was meant to improve Main Street sidewalks.
Right.
It never said, we're gonna do it at 64 Main Street.
right,
It was an indescribed project that the Main Street sidewalks are in tough shape and need rehabilitation.
And we got authorization to borrow the funds.
yes,
Yes,
Do you want
and
it
if we can
in-
combine those funds as the town's share of a potential grant,
Yeah, I wouldn't document it
No.
anyway like that. Like I told you at the last meeting, this next summer,
right,
we're going
It's
to
gonna
get
do it.
sidewalks
we're
done.
gonna do it whether we get the grant or not,
Yeah, it'll either be that part of it as part of the grant,
right,
or we'll just do some sidewalks along Main Street and get it done.
right.
So we done 23 or 24?
It'll be done in 23.
23.
So that would be a financing in 23. Because it was authorized for borrowing.
it was authorized for borrowing in 21, actually.
Right, it's
Well, it
already,
was, but yeah.
yeah,
When would you hear on that grant?
I'm guessing we didn't get it because we probably would have heard by now, but
You would have,
I haven't heard yay or nay either way. But I'm not gonna hold out for it. We're gonna plan to do something this summer. And
Okay,
I
so-
doubt we'll get approval to do the Main Street parking by this summer.
right, and the grant was never a part of the approval anyways, it never even came up.
Nope.
2 years ago,
right,
It wasn't applied for till this year.
that didn't exist.
right, didn't
It
exist,
didn't exist.
I applied for it.
right,
I just started.
right, right, I know, no, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
It had nothing, when it was approved, it was always approved with CIP funding anyways.
Different subject. Is the town gonna get any extra rooms and meals money that I had read that other towns are getting?
we've gotten some and we'll be budgeting that accordingly, conservatively and accordingly.
Have you
So
any idea what those sums are? Have they speculated?
We received over 300,000. We usually got the mid to high 200s.
So.
We
could
got an
be
extra 100,000.
An extra 100,000.
I wanted to say it was in the 345 range, but don't quote me.
That's why.
The better piece is the
Now,
other
is that-
news,
Come to the town and can be put in just the general budget?
Just, yeah.
It's general.
Money for us.
general,
And it's budgeted every year to come to us at the 2 something, and then I think last year they budgeted a little higher, but they were still being
yeah,
conservative. This
And,
year we'll
yeah,
look at
and a
what we
few
got.
weeks ago, they announced the towns were going to get a little extra because the
Right.
tax revenues were a little
Yeah.
better than they had anticipated.
Yeah, they actually, hopefully they stick to it. They
Right.
haven't in the past, but last legislative session, they created a new formula that they're supposed to be
Right.
doing, so the
Yeah.
towns will continue to get a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the paper. Claremont
And
was
then-
getting a pretty good chunk of change.
It's completely based on a formula now, as long as they stick to that. When they get more revenue than they thought, they run everybody through the formula and a check comes out, so.
Yeah.
We won't budget for more revenue than expected. We'll be a little conservative, but we'll probably budget just slightly less than we actually got last year, hoping for the same
Right.
next year.
and pension expense is going down.
Well, one time,
That's a blip.
Well, yeah,
but
but
it did a one-time
Right.
7% expenditure, so.
yeah,
From last year's budget.
Got about $11,000.
well, no, but going forward, they've changed the percentage. Is what
They
was
did a little
in the
bit.
newspaper yesterday. It's like police has gone from 33% to 31, which doesn't sound like a lot, but can become a lot of dollars.
Yeah.
It was in the Concord Monitor. Concord's gonna save over $1 million by just those small changes. 10% of their total budget is pension cost.
All right, so looking at this spreadsheet, we need to have another motion
To bring this to the,
to accept
well, to recommend.
and recommend this CIP program plan, CIP PP.
The changes to what you see in front of you, that
Yeah.
extra $75,000 is coming out of the Shed Street 2024 that wasn't supposed
Yeah.
to be there.
Right,
There's gonna be the split of the chipper, so I don't know, I'm gonna do
Right.
that, though,
yes,
document it. The $60,000 for the fire department cascade system will move out to 2024.
24,
And sidewalks are put under financing in 2023.
yes.
Yes. Can I have a second?
Second,
Who made the motion?
Keith just did.
Yeah.
I did or Keith did, either one of us.
No, she-
Maybe you did.
I will. Discussion? All in favor?
I,
Aye.
I think it's a good
Yeah,
conservative appropriation plan.
and a lot of the conservative is coming also because of COVID.
It is.
Programs are not getting done as fast as they should be
It
getting
is,
done, and
but
it's not worth
a-
saying you're gonna do something this year, that you're not, you're never gonna get to, because it's like you can't get the engineering done. It's taken 2 years to get engineering done on some of these projects. Cause it's just not out the.
Well, there's a
engineers
lot
have
of,
so much
if we
to
look
do.
ahead, 24, 5, 6, 7, there's a lot of bridge work
There is,
that it may behoove us to consider some engineering consultation to
earlier,
get things in line.
yeah,
As much as I absolutely trust Jim's evaluation of what these things look like, I think it's important that we get some engineering involvement early on.
Well, yeah, I think, and I'm gonna push that we get them
Right.
engineered
right,
and be
Yeah.
ready to go.
because what's happened in the past
That's
is,
when.
we
when
put 'em
grades
in
come
there.
along, You
You need to be
right. And
shovel
it-
ready.
it's like Bog Road originally was probably in there for 2023,
Mhm.
but it just keeps get kicked out.
Yeah.
I know May Street was in there for 2022 originally.
Well, May Street also is dependent on replacing the water line on May Street.
Right.
The water project up
Right.
Maple does not include May Street. I assume they'll add a spur, but that's about it. They're not gonna go up May Street, are they?
I don't think so.
No,
Oh, but the May Street project is dependent on replacing that section of the water
Right.
line that goes up, I don't know, 500, 600 feet, however far it goes up May Street, 4 or
Right.
5 houses up
Yeah.
there.
I'll tell you though, you got a lot of these costs going into sewer and
Sewer and
water
water.
lines,
Yeah.
and people are gonna go crazy because the cost is gonna shoot up with them, and so you're gonna have to manage that somehow to keep it under control some way, even if you have to
Right.
go out a little bit with your financing.
right, a part of that
something.
is the
Because
development.
if you kick it all in at once.
Yeah, it's in a long-term SRF loan, so
Right.
it's low interest, long-term payment.
Right,
I
Right,
think it's a 20-year loan normally.
the other thing is you've gotta get more people on sewer,
yeah,
that's the big piece.
On water and sewer.
Water
Water
and sewer,
and
but
sewer.
more so sewer than water even.
Yeah.
How far up on Maple Street does the sewer go?
I think where's the last manhole cover? It's just up past where Laramie farmland is.
And how, does it go up May Street at all?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
so the big problem is also to put them out. Have we put them out for RFP or anything?
Yeah.
And do we know who we're gonna go with or?
No, I think they're out right now or they're going out soon. The engineers are doing that.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, so,
Scheduled for groundbreaking this spring, summer.
okay,
yeah.
Because like you said, a lot of these projects, hey, that we approved them and it's approved them here and nothing happens to
And
years
that
down the
one,
road.
It's, I mean, once it got approved, it's been an engineer.
It's been engineering
So
since
it's
then.
been being worked on. People
Oh,
just
right.
don't realize it takes 3 to 4 years or
Years.
more to do one of these projects.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
picking up your septic system and putting. it
Right.
in. It takes years to engineer it. And
Yeah, the Oak Hill project is already over 2 years old now.
We just got the
Right.
financing
It's just-
approved this year from the state, so that took a
Right.
while to get
Oh,
done.
okay, so that's another problem, that,
yeah,
getting through the state.
Well, if we're using state funds, which
Funds,
gives us
they've
the
got to
low
approve the
interest
plan.
rate
Yeah,
to
right.
get the SRF loans and,
right,
yeah, most of these projects are not quick projects.
No,
You know, the
right.
$40,000 for sidewalks, we can go do sidewalks. That's easy, but
Yeah.
you can
that's-
tell
you start
blacktop,
talking about $1 million, multi-million-dollar project, and you should plan on a 5-year project. If you can push it through faster than that, you did good. And
right,
Okay.
we're trying on the, on the public safety building, but
Yeah.
What's happened with all the things about the, the lights or something like that on 4 up near the school or for what?
the lights have been purchased. We're working with the state and Pathways Engineering on getting it engineered so we can put the lights in.
Okay,
Do we have the funds to execute?
Not sure. I have to see what the engineering plan looks like before I know what it's gonna look like to put it in.
Okay.
so,
If it's
but it's
just
not in
drilling and
here.
bolting them in,
No.
yeah, absolutely. If they want other stuff done, we're gonna have to
Right.
look at that.
But it's not, none of those costs are in here yet.
No, that's TIF funding and it's
TIF.
already been
Okay.
approved and funded.
right,
Okay,
yeah,
So if the execution installation, if you will, turns out to be something that the state balks at,
The state won't balk at it. They're not gonna pay a dime.
right,
well, but they can object to,
They're gonna work with Pathways to engineer how it has to be done.
right.
And then we're gonna have to figure out how
What
to
it's
put it
gonna
in.
cost us.
and we can
Right.
intercede as a town if, for example, the state comes in and says, oh, no, you can't do that until 2000 whatever, when
No,
we
they won't.
finally decide to do
No, they've
the
already said
road.
we can put them in.
Okay.
It just has to be engineered to MCUD specs.
does that also include painting the lines on the street?
The lines are actually there.
They're there.
They are there?
The
Yeah.
lines are there. I don't know who
Right.
painted
I
them.
got a complaint this year and we went up there and they were there.
We
They
did,
were pretty
yeah.
nice looking and
Right,
And the curb,
Yeah.
the concrete curb
Was,
is done,
is done,
is done. It's there. So
it's handicapped,
literally, a guy with a Hilti
did
drill
it?
can go up there and bolt these things in. I could bolt those things in about half a day.
they
well,
just have to be in the right
how are
places.
you?
Well, fortunately, that part of the execution of that part of the project is not all that complicated, fortunately.
right.
Yeah.
It's getting to them saying, yes, you can do it.
Right.
And where you can. put
And where
them.
you can put them,
Can you put them on the actual sidewalk or do
Or do
we
you
have
have to
to pour a
put them-
pad behind it,
Right.
right back there? And
yeah, yeah,
there's something to do with the way the streetlights are, where the shadows get cast, where we can put them, and there's a lot of stuff that goes
Yeah.
into it.
They'll waste their time doing a lot of engineering, and we'll just have to continue to push them for an answer.
right,
And we'll have to pay for the
and
engineering.
we'll pay.
And we'll have to pay for the engineering. There's no question about it.
For a second and third time.
But I'll sleep better.
Yeah.
I'll tell you,
Yeah.
watching those kindergartners cross that road.
And that's the time, it's
Yeah, my
when the
God.
kindergartens are getting out, because there's nobody up there.
It's during the day.
Yeah.
Their plan is that they go for a walk at about 11 o'clock in the
Right.
morning. I've been there because I'm picking up my granddaughter, and they're going for a walk. And there's 2 teachers,
Oh, yeah,
and that's the only safety protocol.
Right.
2 adults are watching 20-something kids
right,
cross that road as somebody comes around that corner.
Yeah.
And it's scary.
Did anything ever happen? There was a lot of talk at one point in time about putting those type of lights or something over at,
shaker.
on 4A for the beach.
It was put into the grant, but nothing has been budgeted or planned to put in there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Again, that'll be the same thing. It's a state road. We'd have to get it engineered. We'd have to get it purchased and done and.
But if this project can work, at least that's something we can think about considering.
We can look at it and decide what we wanna do, what we
Yeah.
need to do.
I mean, that whole thing, I know needs to be looked at. Complications of the stairs and addressing that whole access
That
area.
whole area there.
And I had made the suggestion, you know,
Becomes really.
make the lower parking lot, the civilian parking lot, and make the upper one the boat parking lot.
And I need to double check with the state, but I think that one will be a little bit more expensive, because I think it needs some overhead lighting and stuff to go with it, not just the lights, the crossing lights to be put in, and.
I think they need to also know where to put them, because when you're coming along, that you drop down, you know, that becomes really scary.
It never should have been there. It needs to move south 100 yards.
Well,
Yeah. The other thing is it gonna be brought up at some point in time with the town meeting or something about, was it Johnson or something
There's a committee that's working.
on that? Okay, so that's not gonna be included in the town meeting, right?
No.
Okay,
They won't be done by then.
so because it might,
Strictly as
that might come up, I would think it will come up.
And that's
Somebody will ask that question.
easy. The Johnston Property Use Committee.
That's right.
Right.
Who will be reporting to the select board.
Yeah. Well,
have they met?
They've met once, they're meeting again this week.
Should get their meeting minutes on the web. That will allow
That'll
people
shut
to
stuff
know
down.
that it will,
Yeah.
that it's in the works.
Anything else on CIP?
I don't know.
Everything else on CIP.
I would accept the motion to adjourn.
Second.
third.
All in favor?
Oh,
We're gone.
Let me know if not. I thought I sent them over.
So we can have that list, Elisa, for the budget committee next week.
This list updated? Yes.
We told them we'd bring it
And
there.
it's somewhere along the line.